welcome one and welcome all, my merry band of O-Satters. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sticking with me and for being part of my journey. And welcome to what I can only really describe as the Sockmatician V2.0 podcast. Firstly, thank you very much. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for staying with me. I value your support immensely. Secondly, things might be a little bit different moving forward. I'm sure you're all aware that I've had difficult times recently, but I don't want to dwell on that at all, because what I want to do is I want to get straight back to doing what I do best, which is inspiring people, enthusing people, teaching people, showing people that they are skillful craftspeople, and doing my best to give the knitting world something positive, and that is who I am. Welcome as well to my brand new knitting cave. What do you think? Before the summer, just before things turned difficult for me, I moved house. Ben and I have moved house. We no longer live in Highgate in North London. We now live somewhere else in North London, and it was a brutal move. I'm not going to lie. We had lived in our old flat for coming up for 14 years. If we'd still lived there now, we would have passed our 14th anniversary of living there. And gosh, we loved it. We absolutely did love it. But I'm sure some of you long-term O-Satters will remember the bare plaster walls that we were living in and the flooding that we'd had and all sorts of problems with our landlord. Well, it was all sorted. We found this amazing place not too far away from where we had lived before, only about a 12-minute car ride. And because of the way things worked out with timings, we were lucky. We managed to get the keys to this place while we still had 10 days left on the contract of our old place. It couldn't have been better, it really couldn't. It meant that because, as I say, it was only sort of 12-13 minute car ride away, rather than having to get everything ready to do in one go, all we needed was a car. I have a car. And we managed to do 2 or 3 carloads every day and pull things over. Do you know, anyone who's ever moved house will know that it's not a fun procedure. Anyone who's ever lived somewhere for a very long time, like 14 years, will know it's really not a fun procedure. And I say that we were lucky, and the beauty of it was that we managed to have the crossover. The worst part of that was it meant that the move took 10 days. It was horrible, it really was. We got so exhausted. We had lived in, this is a 2-bedroom flat, and the other place was a 1-bedroom flat, so more space, you think. And yeah, the footprint of this flat is much bigger. What we had at the other flat, which we don't have here, is a semi-converted loft space, so it's kind of doubled the space we had. And after 14 years, you know what happens. You stick everything up in the loft and it just stays there. So we had a lot of stuff. We had more things than we needed. More things we needed to own, and getting rid of it all was kind of cathartic. We wanted to, I'd say we wanted to halve our number of belongings. We didn't manage to do that. I'm going to do a little oral experiment, because I've got the door closed, swung backwards against the back of the camera at the moment, and I think it might have audio consequences. So how about that? I'm not going to know until I get to get it, but we'll see. It'll be an experiment for me for later. Because all this, of course, is new. I don't know how this space works. It was a lot of stuff that had gone back a lot of years, and we needed to get rid of plenty of it in order just to be able to breathe, I think. Belongings can... It's really interesting. I understand the mentality of hoarders. I really do. Anybody who has a stash might know exactly what I'm talking about. I really genuinely, I do though, and I don't mean that lightly. I think I probably would have slight hoarder tendencies, and it's a case of not being able to let go. Except when you do, you realise that the things that you weren't letting go of were the things that were causing you feelings of stress and feelings of overwhelmedness, it's not a word, and all sorts of things like that. And one of the things that I learnt, which was really, really useful, was that I don't need the things themselves, because often the things were just triggers for a memory. So if I just need the trigger for the memory, I can photograph it. So I use this trusty phone on which I am filming now, which is what I do all my podcasts on, and I took many, many, many hundreds of photographs of things like, my mother had sent me years ago, 10 years ago at least, she'd sent over a box full of stuff, which was from my childhood. It was things like my first exercise books when I was learning to write. Who knew back then when I was saying, is this D backwards or forwards? Who knew that one day I would actually write a book? It was very, very moving to go back on. Belching already. God, the bad habits from the past, they all come creeping in. I said version 2.0, it's version 0 really. I'm not going to snap my fingers and I'm not going to do air quotes, so I have learnt. The interesting thing was, going through all of that stuff was lovely. I felt it was really nostalgic, but I had a realisation that what I didn't need to do that again and again and again. I didn't need to see the books. So I photographed all the pages just in case one day I'm feeling nostalgic and I want to go through some stuff. And I'll stick a couple of photographs here. So let me move over to this side of the, sorry, the camera shake. I'll move over to this side of the frame because I'll stick some bits and pieces up here. So you can see the kind of thing that I was talking about. They really are, it was adorable. But it's only me. I mean, you'll probably go, oh, no, what's he showing us that for? And the reason I'm showing you that is because otherwise it seemed like a futile exercise, but it wasn't, because it allowed me to let these things go. And it allowed me to move on from them. And do you know what? We all need to move on in life, don't we? We all need to be able to let go of the things that are weighing us down. Today is Yom Kippur, which is the Jewish celebration. Rosh Hashanah was last week, and Kol Nidre was yesterday. I know all of these things now because my husband has, well, I'm not sure if I've actually talked about this. My husband has, in the last 2 years, discovered that he is in fact Jewish, and he's become very active in the workings of the synagogue, where he started singing as a choir member. And gosh, it's just so amazing things have been going on there. They've just, the choir that he sings with have just had an Arts Council grant to record some stuff. He's just been officially made the composer in residence at the synagogue, which is, it's just brilliant. It really, really is. I'm so proud of him. But one of the things which is to do with the Jewish New Year, which I really, really love, it's not that dissimilar, what I'm about to say, is not that dissimilar from the secular New Year that we have in the UK, and I'm sure in America and many other places in the world as well, on January the 1st, where at midnight you make a New Year's resolution for the year ahead. Instead of that, what they do is the Jewish New Year is an opportunity to cancel any outstanding promises that you might have made during the last year that may no longer be appropriate and may be holding you back. And it allows you to start the new year with a fresh slate. So it's not about making new promises for the new year, it's about getting rid of the old things which may be holding you back, and giving yourself the space to make new promises to try and keep over the course of the next 12 months. 12, I'm not quite sure how the Jewish calendar works. I know it's slightly different from ours. It might be the next calendar year. That was terrible. I should have done the research. But I think that's a really, really benevolent way of looking at things. And I uploaded my last video on the Jewish New Year, Sunday before mine just gone. And it felt like a really cathartic thing to do. It's all about moving on, letting go, and I needed to let go of some stuff, and I needed to move past it in order to be able to come back and say to you, I'm still here. I'm very glad I'm still here, actually. Moving back to the moving thing, we spent 10 days doing it, and it was brutal. And the very last of the 10 days happened to be my birthday. Actually, that wasn't quite true. It was the last day we spent at the previous house was the day before my birthday, and on my birthday I had family members, Ben's and mine, coming down to spend time with me for my birthday, but also to help us move the big stuff. So my sister's boyfriend is a joiner, and he has a wonderful craftsman, and he has a van which is very useful for things like the bed, the wardrobe, and all the big stuff that we couldn't move in the cars. I think you'll have seen on my Instagram I put this sort of not freeze frame, the speeded up version of. Actually, it was stop motion essentially. It was, what do I call it? Frame at a time. Not slow mo, is the opposite. Oh, do you know what I mean? The speeded up video of everybody lending a hand to put up the wardrobe in my bedroom. The interesting thing about this flat, apart from the fact that it has a second bedroom, the layout is almost identical to the one we lived in before. Freakishly so. Certainly it's, so at the old flat, although our address was the name of the road we lived on, that wasn't where you got access to the building, because the access to the building was round the back. So you have to go down an alleyway off a side road from the named road, and then up a fire escape, metal steps, to the door halfway up the building on the side of the house. Once you got into that building, you would then go to find our front door, because that was the communal front door for 2 flats there. And then once you were in our flat, it was a long hallway, split level, with about 7 steps halfway along, but not changing direction, just there and then down 7 steps and carried on. And at the top end, at the front of the building, you had a large living room, and you'd walk in, there's big 4 panels of windows, which you all have seen. The fireplace behind where I used to sit to record these podcasts, you know that room very, very well. Going out of there into the bedroom, listen, it's the same here. It's absolutely the same. I can't tell you. We also live on a named road. We are also the 2nd floor above shops. The shop down below is owned by our landlord, which was the same as the same place before. Our landlord's surname here is Patel, and our landlord's surname at the other place was also Patel. They're not related, it's just a random coincidence. You access the building by a side road, down an alleyway, and up a fire escape to the 1st floor. It's identical. And then you walk in, and we've still got a long split level hall, and at the front you've got the living room and the bedroom. The bedroom is so similar. We've got all our furniture in exactly the same place as it was. We woke up the next morning like, have we actually moved at all? So, I guess this is the roundup, isn't it? There it is on the bottom of the screen. I forgot to do that. And it's so similar. But what it does have is a second bedroom. Now, I had to fight with my husband, not for the use of it, because this is it. I had to fight him to say, I need to pay slightly more rent than you because I have the use of an exclusive room, which is just mine for my uses only. Now, initially, it was going to be my knitting cave. It's because of the ups and downs of recent times, I wasn't sure whether that was going to be something that I would need or want or have an affiliation or an association with. So I don't call it that, it's my study or just my room. I don't sleep in here. No. We have our bedroom, and that's fine. This is purely my business room. And it is, do you know, I do like it. I will show you a little, I'll give you a little tour around it if you like. You'll see I've got some rope lights around the back here. Camper. What else would you expect, right? These were up in the loft in the old place. I bought them when we first moved in, and I had them around the bookshelf. And when I came here, there's this like split level wall. You can't see it here. This sort of split level here. It's like a little picture shelf, and it's sort of just above waist height. Can you see? It's shoulder level really. And it was perfect. So my rope lights go over the door, which is behind where you are now, and round and disappear behind my stash over there. And I love them very much. I have bought myself a desk. I wasn't planning to. I had a desk, and I was supposed to be short of money when you're moving house. And for anyone who has forgotten, we never planned to move house. We didn't want to. We wanted to stay where we were. We were very happy. We thought once we had all the problems that would have been sorted out, we'd hoped. It became a bit of an unpleasant environment with our landlord. He needed the flat back. He didn't deal with it very well, and things got a little bit ugly, and it was a real shame, because for nearly 14 years we had a really good relationship with them, but they were sort of trying to pull the wool over our eyes, in a slightly unpleasant way, and we didn't want that, so we had to get a little bit firm, which I don't enjoy doing. I really don't. I'm an unconfrontational person. I much prefer it when there's harmony and everyone can get on. That won't come as a surprise to anybody. Anyway, moving on from that, we therefore hadn't planned to move. We were given our notice because he needed the flat back for his daughter, which is fair enough. He had a daughter who'd got married and they wanted the flat that we were in. It's his flat, he owns it. I totally get it. Funnily enough, the law changed while that was all going on, and if he'd wanted us out now, he would have had to have given us a much better reason. It would have to be something that we had done that was in breach of our contract or something like that. Otherwise, there's many more rules in place to protect tenants now, which is a good thing, I think, if you're a tenant, as we are still here. Lost the thread of that. Oh yeah, so I didn't have any money to be buying new desks with, but we were on the hunt for some chairs for Ben. Ben's workroom is in the kitchen. He's got a lovely big table there. It's the dining table that he grew up sitting around with his brother, and his parents have had it in storage for years, and we finally got that, and we have the room for it here because the kitchen is slightly bigger than the old one, so that's now Ben's working space, and we needed some chairs for it, so we went off to a second-hand furniture shop, and I saw my desk. Come with me. I'm going to show you I love this desk so much. Make sure I don't get me wires tangled up. Look at this. Isn't it just, ignore the tatty old IKEA chair there, but isn't that just so beautiful? And it's so wide, and the drawers go all the way back to there. Gosh, it's amazing. And I got it for the princely sum, a fantastic sum of just, of just £150. It's gorgeous. Leather top, red leather thing. I absolutely love it. This also was a bargain. Ben and I were driving down the street, and we passed a second-hand shop and it had all this stuff outside, and I saw this. It's lovely. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 drawers. Goes all the way to the floor. And I said, stop the car! Ben skid into a hole. I said, I'm getting out. If it's under £100, I'm having it. I got it for £90. Yes. You can see I'm quite excited to be back, can't you? I really have missed podcasting. I didn't enjoy the last one, as you can imagine, and I really do enjoy talking to all of you, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this relationship in its new format. So, what else is what else is here? If I turn the camera round, what you'll see is what I have put. Oh, do you see? I've got lots of my theatre stuff going on in this room. Obviously, big, massive. Hello, I'm in the mirror as well. Oh, hello. How are you doing? Are you well? Let's if I get out of the. There, look at that. So I can actually do the podcast talking to you from over here, and that probably looks like I'm actually looking at you. At least I hope it does. Did it? I don't know. Hard to tell. I've got no idea. But this is not just any old Miss Saigon poster. I will give you a little guided tour. Look, it's got lots of golden scribbles on it. This was a poster. This has been in my... Gosh, where has it been? It's been in the back of my wardrobe for about 13 years. Probably longer than that, actually. And it's the poster that was given to me when I left the cast of Miss Saigon. And I left the cast of Miss Saigon in 1997. So that's 22 years old. Oh my goodness, that's really terrifying. I was in the cast from 96 to 97. That's there, that's my theatre stuff. It wouldn't be a theatre man's room without some camp old theatre curtains, right? They are they're on what they call drawstrings, and you can pull them backwards and forwards, and they reveal or hide my ABBA singles framed collection of CD covers there. They're the German versions, if anybody recognises those. And then I've got all the work that I do on my desk there set up. I've got some more ABBA things there, big old fan. Here in the corner I've got, well, in that little white chest of drawers is my most of my ABBA singles collection. If I bring you a little closer, then you can have a little look and see There you go, it's Chiquitita from Argentina, and this one there's all sorts of things. I've got over 400 ABBA singles, and told you, big fan. Make no apologies for that. And then in the corner here we've got, this is the sort of stack of envelope boxes there for if I'm passing up things that I sell, and here's my stash. It used to be just 3 boxes, or so I thought. It was never 3 boxes. It was 3 boxes, and oh, we get back into it. It was 3 boxes and as many. Sorry. And as many. I can't get the angle right. It was 3 boxes and as many cupboards and bags and stashed little cubby holes full of yarn as I could. Now it's 4 really. That top one isn't full. That's some quarantine stuff which I still have to put in the freezer because we did have a moth problem at the last place. So far so good, nothing here. I hope that's really going to stay the same way. So that's welcome to my knitting environment. This will be the area. I'm going to play with the angles. I'm not entirely sure that I'm completely 100% happy with the way things are at the moment. Let me see if I can put that on here. Maybe that's going to work a little bit better. Possibly does. I don't know if I'm 100% happy with the view that you're seeing. I might try and dress it up a little bit and make it nice for you because it's a rather large expanse of bare wall across here, which maybe I need to get some posters or something here behind me. I don't know. But I'm very happy here. Ben and I are incredibly happy in our new home. Notwithstanding external pressures, of course. Things have been very, very difficult for us recently. But I'm hoping that that's all behind me now. I don't think it'll ever be fully behind me. I think there's the distinct possibility that the remnants of and the fallout from the harassment and bullying that I've been subjected to will last a long time. There are still people out there screaming for my blood. I'm okay with that. I've stopped listening. And my advice to anybody who gets targeted in the same way is just don't listen. Quantify everything. Have you noticed? There's a lot more grey in my beard than there ever used to be. It's interesting, isn't it? It's been about 3 months since I disappeared from social media, slightly less than that. I don't think my beard was that grey then. Who knows whether or not it would have gone that grey in 3 months of its own volition. I don't know. I think probably the best thing I can do now is move straight on to showing you what I've been doing during my absence. I've been knitting a lot. It was important to me to dissociate the things that have happened to me from knitting. Knitting didn't do this. Knitting is wonderful. Knitting is a lifesaver actually for a lot of people, and I think it probably was for me as well. Knitting is fabulous, and I genuinely do love the process of designing and putting together stuff, which is why we're all here, right? So it was a matter of needing to remind myself of that. So I kept knitting as much as I possibly could throughout the dark times. But I have largely been knitting this, which is, you know, I'm such a showbiz queen. Even my shopping bag, which I've only just moved this into, even my shopping bag is the photograph from Sunday in the Park with George. It's the Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte by Georges Seurat. And I love it. And I'm going to show you what's in the bag in a moment. I'm actually first of all going to show to you here. Oh, they're both here actually. The 2 new patterns which are out at the moment. Here's the plug. I don't mind, I've got to eat. Thank you so much to everybody who has already bought one of these. Thank you so much to everybody who has supported me by buying my other patterns, by buying copies of my book and my yarn and the badges and all the other things that go along with me trying to eke out a living from this community. Thank you. I'm not a rich man. I never have been. I was just getting to the stage where, excuse me, I was just getting to the stage where I didn't need another source of income, and I was just managing to keep things ticking over just by doing the knitting and stuff that I do. I don't know, to be honest, if that's sustainable going forwards without teaching classes, which I'm stopping doing for the time being. If it becomes clear that things for me are safer in the future than they are now, then yes, I will absolutely. I love teaching, I really do. I was teaching class a few days ago, and I was teaching my knit nerdism class. I love teaching my knit nerdism class. I would be very, very unhappy if I had to stop doing that. I think the answer will probably be not to do it publicly. Private classes are something I can more than likely continue to do. And if I put that there, that's very white. Is that giving a little bit? Is that making any difference? Oh, it does, doesn't it? Look at that. Reflectors, fabulous. I think it's probably something that I can and will want to do in the future. I've got a lot of things that I like to share with people, which is why I do this podcast in the first place. I enjoy sharing. So to coincide with my video from before, the truth video, I worked really, really hard getting together two patterns. One which I had written, well, I had knitted a long time ago, and that's this one, the Slideways Hat. I really, really like this hat. It goes, I was going to say hand and glove, not hands or gloves. It goes scarf in hat with the Slideways scarf, which I put out probably 18 months ago. And actually, do you know what was the last standalone pattern that I put out 18 months, 2 years ago? It's extraordinary that it taken me so long to do it. Obviously, yeah, in the meantime, I wrote a book, and that's got 5 patterns in it, and I was going madly around the world teaching and do all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really have the time. And that is actually one of the other reasons. I don't like the shadow. I move this thing. I don't like it. It's better, isn't it? It doesn't make much difference. Let's get that completely. Does that help? A little bit, yeah. I told you it's a work in progress. Aren't we all? One of the reasons why I'm not going to be doing the teaching is not just because of the unpleasantness. It's because it was stressful. I didn't realise quite how stressful being me was, and being Sockmatician, I mean, Sockmatician is me, of course, but it's a sort of professional extension of me, and it was really, really hard work getting all this stuff involved with teaching classes, the what am I trying to say, the admin side of things for travel, accommodation, setting up the classes, working through contract, everything like this. Really, really, really hard. And I didn't really enjoy it. That's why I took on an assistant, which didn't go so well. But I hadn't anymore got the time for doing the things that I enjoy, which is the designing. And this hat, look at that crown. God, I love it. I absolutely love how that came together. The Slideways scarf is sort of just looks like one strip like that. I had to try and use the same design to come together. It kind of looks a bit like a Viking helmet, doesn't it? What's interesting about this hat is, unlike most of the other things that I've designed in the past, this is Alistair Post Quinn, my double knitting hero. This is obviously double knitting. You can see. Alistair Post Quinn, my double knitting hero, uses the, what's that weird fluffy ghost thing that just sort of went in front of the camera? Did you see that? If that's not there in the edit, this house is haunted. That was really weird. I don't know what that was. I think he coined the phrase. He calls this kind of knitting off the grid knitting, and the grid he's talking about is the columns and rows of stitches like on a chart, on a knitting chart. And the reason why this is off the grid is because it uses increases and decreases placed judiciously wherever you want them to, let me come a little bit closer, to allow the columns of stitches to skew across in different directions. Ignore this is shaping for the actual shape of the hat, but so yes, you've got increases and decreases normally, which would make things bigger or smaller, but if you, as in lace, if you pair an increase with a decrease and keep the stitch count consistent, what it does is it moves the columns of stitches around. And here is a very good example of that. You can see that what I've been doing is up at the inside here, I'd have an increase, which would push the columns over and new columns would form. And then here, this ridge there, that's the line of decreases along that section, which would bring them back into line where I wanted them. This hat, obviously, is completely reversible. And I think it's, do you know what? I'm going to have hat hair. It's about hats. I think this is a really, really wearable hat. I think it's very, very typical beanie shape. You know, it's a large man's size head because I've got quite a large head. You can size yours with. You could, I guess, if you wanted to use thicker yarn, do 3 repeats. I think that would probably work. I haven't really worked out the maths on that in the pattern. I don't recommend it necessarily. But what's lovely about this hat is that crown. I really, really love that crown. It was just serendipity, really. The fact that it looks like this beautiful flower in the centre, I didn't really plan that. It was just how the stitches came together and how I needed to narrow things as it got towards the centre there. Really very happy with that. As I said, it is part of a set. There's the Slideways scarf. I would dearly love to show you them both together. I've lost it. I've lost the scarf. It doesn't exist anymore. Lord only knows, it was before the move. I have no idea what happened to it. It's a real shame because I wanted to be able to photograph the two together, wear them together. I can't. However, they do go as a set. It's the Slideways scarf and the Slideways hat. They are available on Ravelry. They are available with a slight discount if you buy the two together. Individually, it would cost you £11 plus the VAT for the country you live in. There's a £1 discount if you buy the two at the same time. I think, now don't quote me on this, I've tried to make it so that if you've already bought the Slideways scarf in the past, and if you want the hat, if you've got one already and you buy the other one, even if you're not buying them at the same time, I think the discount should still be a combined price of £10, so rather than 11 plus the VAT for the country in which you live. I know that there are a lot of people nowadays who are looking for alternatives and they don't like the monopoly that has been in place with Ravelry. And although I have no intention of leaving Ravelry because that's where the bulk of my business comes from, I am doing my best at the moment to add all of my pattern portfolio to Lovecrafts as well, lovecrafts.com, which used to be Love Knitting. There's a few up at the moment. The Slideways hat and scarf are there already, but I don't think, I need to look into this further, this is all still brand new to me. I don't think they have the same facility for discounts, so that would just be the £5.50 for the scarf, £5.50 for the hat. That's what it is, but at least it gives you the options. I'm going to be looking at the next couple of weeks at adding all of my patterns to Lovecrafts as well, so that people have options that can suit their sensibilities, shall we say. The other hat, I'm very excited about this other hat. It's called Reinvention. And, oh gosh, I love it. Here it is. Oh, look at that crown. Oh, look at those colours. It's quite busy. There's quite a lot going on in this hat. Don't worry about that. That's the little floor. I don't mind that. That's just where one round jogs up to the next one. Those things don't bother me. Look at that. The pattern, the major pattern from here down, bring it a little closer for you, sit right here. The pattern from here downwards is based on old-fashioned Victorian floor tiles that you sometimes see patterns of like that in people's hallways and things like that. The headband, if you like, is my own invention, as is what's going on up there in the crown. But the magic of this hat is not whether or not you like this pattern. The magic of this hat happens when you turn it inside out and you realise, unlike most double knitted items, you're not just getting a reverse negative mirror image of this pattern. What you're getting, pay careful attention to how it looks, is an entirely different pattern. I'm so excited. I'm pathetic. Look at the crown. Look at that. Oh, And you know, for balance, that's the crown on the outside, whichever side you want actually. This is the outside as you knit it, and this is the inside as you knit it. And look at that. What I've done is I've kept the band similar. You've got this sort of X motif on both sides to sort of tie the two patterns together, and of course it's using the same two colours because it's the same yarns. But isn't that just a corker? This hat comes up large. It's very, very roomy. That's deliberate. I wanted that effect. I wanted this to be a very, very, with the reason for that, the technical reason for that, is this kind of double knitting, which some people call non-reversible double knitting. I don't think that's universal enough. Some people call it two-pattern double knitting, which in this case is true, but I don't think it's always universal. I call this non-mirrored double knitting. So usually one side is a mirror image of the other. This is non-mirrored double knitting, and I think it's much more universal in that respect. This hat, because it uses NMDK, non-mirrored double knitting, the structure of the fabric is slightly different than it would be if it were standard double knitting. What that means is if you stretch it out too much, then you can sometimes see little discrepancies in the pattern. When you've had a go at this, that'll become much more apparent. So what I didn't want to do is I wanted it to kind of have no negative ease. I wanted it to be designed so it would just sort of fit on my head, which it does. And it fits me rather well, I think. It's very roomy, it's very warm, but what it's not doing, it's not stretching the material, it's just allowing it to sit on my head as is, and it obviously works like that in both ways out. If you don't want that and you think it's a little bit too large, you can of course always cuff it up, and it's still a very, very attractive and beautiful hat to wear. In fact, I quite like that. I like that as a way to, what's it look like? I've never done that the other way out. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's nice. I think that works very well. And particularly if I were to centre it so that the design is in the centre of my head, I think we're onto a winner there. What do you reckon? I like it. Non-mirrored double knitting is actually really, really super duper easy to knit. It hasn't been traditionally. And what I mean by that is the reason why I say it hasn't been easy to knit is because it's because of the way it was charted. There are several ways of charting this kind of knitting, and I'm going to say something really arrogant now. I like to think I'm quite bright. I found it difficult to follow the way these patterns used to be charted. And it was very, very difficult. It was very easy to get lost because the chart has to have both patterns sort of integrated. It was very tricky. I've come up with a brand new concept for charting this. It's something that made such perfect sense in my head. I was thinking to myself, why on earth have I not thought of this before? It was one of those real facepalm moments. So if you are interested in having a go, don't be put off by the fact that it looks really complex. It's not. If you've ever done any double knitting at all, you'll find it a breeze. If you've never done any double knitting at all, as with all of my patterns, I always make sure that I put all the instructions for all the techniques, tutorialized, step-by-step instructions, and links to video tutorials as well. My patterns have QR codes, so if you've printed it off, you can scan the QR code and it will take you to the relevant YouTube tutorial by me. All of these things I ensure because I want to make sure that people have a successful time knitting any of my patterns. Right? Okay. So that's what I've been busy with. That had been knitted a long time ago, but I put the pattern together. This one took up most of my summer knitting for new stuff like that. I'm very excited. I now get to show you, shall I show you the big one first, or shall I show you the quick one, which has dashed off my needles in the last couple of days? I'm going to show you the quick one, which has dashed off my needles in the last couple of days, because those were finished objects, so this as well might as well be as well. Now, I came back from New Zealand last year with a bag full of really, really bright, colourful yarn. Two of the colours, there's some skeins with an NZ at the end, obviously New Zealand, who are the company that I work with closely for my own yarn range. They do a chunky weight yarn in neon colours. There are 4 colours in the range, and I brought home 2 balls of each. Now I've used the yellow and the green ones. They look like this. Really, really bright, crazy bright stuff. This is just a sort of practice, gosh, you can't even see it. Practice swatch of looking, practice swatch of trying out various techniques and how they all work together. And they also do the orange and the pink. It's just like all my terry toweling socks were in the 1980s. I love my Lumo socks, I really did. Now this is the cowl, this is the orange and the green. This, ladies and gents, I'm very, very proud of. I'm very happy with it indeed. Can you see what's going on? It is brioche and it is not brioche. I love it, I really do. Let's show you a little bit more about it. Can you see, we've got double knitting going on, obviously, in the centre, but this is double knitted brioche. Double knitting brioche is something I'm going to talk about extensively in the next section of this podcast. Here is what it looks like. Usually, when you have brioche and double knitting together, the double knitting will gather everything in because brioche has a much wider stitch gauge than double knitting. And if you flow from brioche into double knitting, everything gathers in, and it can be used to great effect for shaping techniques, which is very useful. This, obviously, look at the inside. Oh, totally reversible. I love making this, and you can see as well that the double knitting, although it gathers in a tiny little bit, essentially the gauge is maintained, so the shape of the cowl overall is maintained, and you've got these lovely contrasting intersecting squares as a motif around the middle. Now those sections are pure double knitting, here and here. The orange and the pink squares, they're pure double knitting. So where you've got an orange square on one side, you have the pink square on the other side. Now this is not brioche, it's double knitted brioche. Now, double knitted brioche is like, the way you can do double knitted lace, the way you can do double knitted cables, you can also do brioche in double knitting and it becomes double knitted brioche. The structure of the fabric is very subtly different. It's actually not that subtle when you look at it closely. But I'll talk more about that in a second. Let's talk about this cowl. It is made with chunky weight yarn. It's so, because of the brioche rib aspect of it, and because I've gone for a narrow circumference, it's not tight in any way, you can see that, but it's going to stand up. Yes, you can, obviously, tuck it down. But the joy of this kind of cowl, I think, is it has a rigidity to it, which means it's not going to fall down around your face. You could wear a coat over this, and it's still going to protect your mouth in the cold, cold weather that is about to come. I knitted this in 2 afternoons. Chunky weight yarn is the way forward if you want quick knits. This would be a perfect stocking filler for if you were doing Christmas knitting, gift knitting, stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be releasing this pattern on its own just yet. And that's the bit I want to talk to you about later. So it's unnamed. I love it. I really, really do love it. It has been so much a labour of no labour at all, and I love it. So let's see what's going on with this. Can you see? It's just adorable. There we go. Obviously, that's going to be the cover shot for this video. I'm really, really happy with it. Really, really happy. It was a joy to knit. I had to work out some brand new stuff for it. I had to work out the transitions from one technique to another and how I wanted it all to work, particularly where I'm changing colours. For example, where I've got this orange rib that becomes the pink there. I needed to work out how I was going to do that and set it up a row earlier than I thought, so there's a little bit of ripping out and starting again, but even with that, 2 afternoons worth of knitting, and I think that is a very, very lovely item indeed. I can't wait. More about why, I'm not going to release it just yet in a moment. Now I want to show you something that you will have seen in its infancy before, I think that's, do you know what, I'm just going to touch my screen because I think it might not be focusing properly. There you go, how's that? Is that working? I'm not sure. Let's try and get rid of all of that. How's that? I'll get better at this, I promise. 4 years in, still rubbish. You will have seen this. I started this when I was in Finland, and of course I came back from Finland to the disharmony that has been so present in my life recently. But I started this. I didn't really start it when I was in Finland. I developed it when I was in Finland, and now it's developed more and more and more. It's not done, it's on the needles. This, I am so proud of this pattern, and I'm so proud of what it represents. This is Hampton Court. Hampton Court is going to be a very, very large triangular shawl. Right here, I'll block it out so it's nice and triangular. At the moment, the wingspan is from the centre of the nape of the neck. It's the length of my arm, which probably means that the depth of it will be about similar. Yeah, it is. And this obviously is double knitting, but let me have a little closer gander here so I can show you. This is what it looks like. I am ridiculously in love with this pattern. It's very deliberately designed to look like peacock feathers, and I don't tend to design things with colour in mind in terms of what they do, because I think people can choose their own colours, but the colours of this certainly don't hurt it looking like a peacock. And you've got along the wingspan and down the spine, you've got this gorgeous, delicate double knitted cable. So you can see this is a green cable working its way down a blue background here, and obviously, of course, if I turn it over, it's a blue cable working its way down the green background. The same is obviously true for all of the lacy motifs here. We've got a green feather backed with a blue feather. It's everything about this just gives me so much joy. It is huge. It's probably not going to be as large as my well-known Genesis shawl. I don't think the amount of yarn that I've got will sustain that. I'm close to the end of it now. It is. I mean, it's large. You can see that's half of it at the moment. It's made with worsted weight yarn. It's 40% alpaca, baby alpaca, 40% merino and 20% silk. It is absolutely beautiful. Doubled up worsted weight yarn is incredibly thick. This is going to be one almighty warm shawl. It's going to be so opulent, so luxurious, and so goddamn beautiful. I cannot tell you how much I'm in love with this. I've enjoyed knitting it so much. It's a real joy to knit because it's so logical. Every stitch flows from the stitch below it, the way the pattern works. Every stitch is, apart from 4 yarn overs every second row, every stitch is the same colour as the stitch it comes out of. So that means you're not having to be a slave to the chart thinking, oh, is this blue or green? You just work into the stitches as they are, making sure you put the increases and decreases in the same place, in the right places. So like this, the Hampton Court shawl is also off the grid. So it's using the increases and decreases to skew the columns of stitches into the shapes that I want them to be to create those feathers. And I love it. So logical is this wonderful object. It sounds really arrogant. I've just fallen in love with it. It got dark. The sun's gone in behind a cloud, so I have to deal with that, I'm afraid. So logical is this that I haven't actually written anything down or charted it. I've just knitted it as it's come. There was planning, don't get me wrong. This didn't come as an improvised piece at all, but it doesn't require any form of charting, because I understand it. Obviously somebody who is new to it probably will, but I believe that part way into knitting a shawl like this, you would find yourself going, I don't need this chart anymore, it just makes sense. It's really, really intuitive. And that, who likes being a slave to a chart? Sometimes with great complex patterns where there's no repeats and every pixel has to be a different colour to create the right picture, then that can be very, very difficult, because there's no repeats, you can't learn a repeat, you can't learn what's going on. So you have to be a slave to the chart. With this one, I don't think you will. I love it. I really, 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 really love it. And that is getting larger and larger. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be quite an expensive project in terms of luxury yarn. There are 10 100-gram balls in use for it. That's what I've got. I'm not going to go over that. I'll stop before it gets any larger. I'm coming towards the end. I've still got this much of ball 4 and ball 4, and I've got ball 5 and ball 5 still to go. So, just colours, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I do enjoy knitting. I do enjoy coming up with new stuff. So that's what I've been doing. What am I going to be doing next? Well, before the nonsense of the summer, my plan was to spend the second or the latter part of this year writing another book. Now, this won't be a Haynes manual. I have a very good ongoing relationship with Haynes, and my editor has said she'd love to work with me again at some point in the future when they can get the right project off the ground. But I know that the books that I want to write mostly are not books that Haynes will want to publish, and I completely get that. It's a different market. My stuff is very niche. My stuff is all about sort of pushing the boundaries of knitting, and the book that I want to write is double knitted brioche. This stuff. There's a lot to say on the subject. For example, I've got 6 little swatches. I'm not going to go through them all here. I don't want to give too much away, but I've got 6 little samples here which show the same colours, the neon stuff. I wanted to do something with all 4 colours together. I used this up first. These 6 swatches all look very similar. They're not, well, they are similar, but they're not the same. They are what I would consider to be the 6 stages in the evolution of brioche to get from traditional 2-pass brioche to double knitted 1-pass brioche. And I think it's really exciting. There's a lot to say. I've got a lot of patterns already lined up for this book. This will be one of them. This will be one of the entry-level patterns. It's not complicated. It's not hard to do at all. If you've never done brioche, you'll think, oh, maybe I'll do brioche first. This is not brioche, this is double knitted. It's a form of double knitting. So actually you're better off if you've got double knitting experience than if you've got brioche experience when it comes to doing something like this. But you don't need either, because the book will be very, very extensive. Here is the plan. Writing a book takes a long time. Living for a long time takes money. Writing a book also has costs involved, as well as me having to live. So I am going to be starting a Kickstarter fund, not so that I can live, but so that I can ask people to fund the book with pre-sales, not donations. Okay, that's really, really important to me. I don't like asking people for money. I am incredibly grateful to the people who have used my Ko-fi page to help me through this difficult financial period, but this is not what this is all about. I was going to be asking for this anyway. The joy is that people's donations have been very generous recently, and I now need to ask for less money than I thought I would in order to write this book. So at the time of recording, I haven't yet worked out which particular crowdsource website I'm going to be using. There's WeFund, GoFundMe, Kickstarter, all of those kind of things. I don't know which one. I had to look into it. By the time this is edited, it will now be showing up on the screen where you can go to pre-order your copy of the ebook that I am going to self-publish. That's a really big job. It's a really big job, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm aware I'm not looking at the camera. I'm so sorry. My eyes are flicking all over the place. It's a really big job, and I think it's going to take me about at least 6 months. It took me 4 months to write Guys Knit. There's new stuff in this one that people don't know yet, and I think it's going to take me a lot longer than 4 months to write just the manuscript. Then of course there's the photography, and then there's the laying out of the book. I'm going to be doing it all myself. Here's my number crunching plan. I expect that the ebook, which will be available as a Ravelry and other, I hope, download PDF format, I'm hoping it will retail at £20. Now that is about right for a book, and you may be thinking to yourselves, well, it's not a physical book, why is it costing so much? Well, it's the same amount of knowledge and it's the same amount of work for me as a physical book, and I do need to eat. So I am planning it to retail at £20. As part of the Kickstarter fund, I've estimated, I thought I was going to need, it sounds awful before, I thought I was going to need at least £15,000 to £20,000. That is to do everything, that's to get all the finishing touches, bells and whistles, and as well as being able to live for the period of time that it takes to get the book ready. I don't need that much money now, thanks to generous donations so far. What I'm asking for, I think I need £10,000, and to get everything done, that's absolutely everything done and paid for, because of PayPal fees and things like that, I will be asking for 12, and fees for the Kickstarter fund itself. I think it's not feasible to ask for what you need, because there's fees that come off it and then you end up with not quite enough money, so that's really kind of awkward. So I think for £12,000 it can be done. Now the lowest pledge price that I'm going to be planning to put on this Kickstarter will be £25. Now the £20 of that pays for your book, okay? So anybody who pledges anything at all, £25 will be the lowest amount, £25 and above, you will already be paying for your book. The £5 is a little bit towards the process, so that I can afford to pay my rent and eat while I'm beavering away 100% of the time. I know that I was working long hours writing Guys Knit, and when I get into the swing of it, I enjoy that, but it means that it is to the exclusion of all other earning potential. So there will be other things that you can do as well. And I think I haven't finalised all of this. I can talk about it more later on, but just so you know what's going on, Ben has come up with some great ideas actually for different amounts. I haven't worked out what the amounts will be, but maybe for £100, if you want to pledge that, then yes, you'll get your ebook, but you'll also get the opportunity for something special within it, maybe a special mention within the book. I think everybody who pledges should get a mention in the back of the book anyway. I can't guarantee that in terms of space, but I think that's my plan. But I think that there will be a special mention section for people who have gone over and above. For a higher bracket, again, if you are feeling very flush and very generous, I want to give you something in return. So one of the things that I will be offering will be the chance to name some of the patterns that are going to be in the book. So the book is going to be tutorializing and discussing the technique and showing the evolution of all these different swatches, which I'm not going to show you now. That's for the book. But also it's going to have a lot of different patterns in it. There's going to be this pattern will be in the book. I'm thinking I should be resurrecting this. This was not written for Double Knitted Brioche. This was a pattern that went into the Knitter magazine 18 months ago, but it involves Double Knitted Brioche as well. So this hat again is gorgeous, completely reversible. One of the things, I'll talk about what Double Knitted Brioche is in a second, but if this hat works very well inside and out, has a beautiful crown, gorgeous, I love it. Also, I have two brand new patterns which I've been working on before the summer, but I have kept them quiet until now. One of them is this. Oh, this is a DK weight yarn. This is fingering weight yarn held double, pink held double and grey held double as well. And this is Double Knitted Brioche. This is what it can give to you. I mean, I am obsessed with this texture. This all came from, I have a swatch in here that I was just fiddling around with some bits and pieces and I didn't know what I was doing yet. And I came up with the texture which became this swatch, if I can find the damn thing. Here it is. Here we are. And I became so obsessed with it because it is 100% reversible. I'm a double knitter with OCD, okay? So CDO, which I joke about quite a lot. I genuinely am. And for me, the whole point of double knitting is that you can have, if you want to, you can go other ways as well, but if you want to, you can have 100% reversibility. And that's something that brioche doesn't give you. It doesn't. The two sides are different. I believe one of them is ugly. Some people disagree with me, but the fact is they're not the same. Double knitted brioche is, or can be, exactly the same. So when you've got something like this going on, this wonderful, look at that lattice texture there. It looks so complex and so fabulous. When you turn it inside out, rather than having all the gapping where you get increases and decreases coming together, look, you may think it's not quite the same. My tension on the inside is not so tight as my tension on the outside, so it looks a bit, I'll turn it the other way, there you go. It looks slightly puffier on the inside, but that grey lattice is topographically exactly the same as that pink lattice there. Turn it on the right way, there you go. Gorgeous. Not only that, there will also be the matching hat pattern for it. I'm obsessed with the crown of this hat. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, I love this hat so much. I really, really do. And of course, being double knitted brioche, it's entirely reversible. Exactly reversible. It's exactly what you want. So this hat and this cowl, again, the stiffness and the thickness of the cowl means that, oh, look at it, it's so beautiful. Oh, that looks like a floor. It just happens to be a lot of dark yarn there. You can have it right around your face like that, and you can have them mismatched, or you can have the hat and the cowl round the same way and be the warmest double knitted brioche person you can possibly think of. I am obsessed with this texture. I love it. These will also be in the book. I've also got, in the trunk that this is all sitting on, so I'm not going to go scrabbling around in it now, I've got a very large, long scarf, which also uses double knitted brioche. All of these patterns will be in there and more besides. My focus is going to be, slanted towards more patterns with that over the upcoming months, because I want this book to be not just here's a nebulous technique that you can learn for fun. I want it to have practical applications, and I want it to have plenty of patterns that are specifically designed for it. And one of the things that it does very well is transition between double knitting and double knitted brioche really, really easy. So you can combine the two very, very well. I think it's really, really exciting. One of the other exciting things about double knitted brioche is, although the texture of it is quite different, I will show you a little bit of just sort of the beginning and the end of the evolutionary tree, if you like. This is traditional brioche. This is knitted in 2 passes, and as you can see, the rib looks like that. That's what you'd expect, right? Where's the purple one? I've lost the very one that I wanted to show you. Oh, here it is. This is double knitted brioche. Double knitted brioche, ignore that, that's a tail poking out, that doesn't want to be there. I need to tuck that back in. Look at the difference in the texture. One is quite wide and open. This is much denser, much denser, much more uniform and much tidier. It looks like it's got more yarn overs in it. It hasn't, it's got the same amount, but structurally they interact with each other and with the stitches for the other colour in a different way, which gives this denseness, this close textured fabric. It also gives you the facility for complete 100% reversibility that brioche can't ever allow. You can get close, but it's not 100%. I'm obsessed with it. There's a lot of it. I really, really love it. The joy of all of this is, now, I have two knitting heroes. One is Alistair Post-Quinn, as I constantly maintain, the double knitting guru, who is my all-time 100% hero. My other hero is Nancy Marchant, who is Brioche extraordinaire. And I believe that Nancy is a true genius, and I will never ever say anything that disagrees with that. I also think what she has given to the knitting community is beyond compare. What I love about double knitted brioche is, as long as the pattern that you are working from is charted, and Nancy has of course done wonders in sort of evolving and developing the charts for brioche. If you get one of Nancy's beautiful, leafy, gorgeous patterns, you can either follow the instructions that you already know and make it exactly like Nancy's would be, or using a few little adjustments to the technique, you can make the same pattern in double knitted brioche. Ignore that blip. In double knitted brioche. So it would have a slightly different closed texture, but what it would give you, which ordinary brioche can't do, is it would give you, whereas it looks like this on the front, look at these increases and decreases. This is the traditional two-pass brioche. It's a bit of a dog's dinner on the back. It wasn't intended to be rude at all. Brioche is just a fabric which is non-reversible. This, however, being double knitted brioche, ignore that blip, I'll tuck that in later. Double knitted brioche looks the same on the front as it does on the back. Now for me, that's one of the most exciting things, because of my OCD double knitting reversibility mania. The idea of being able to take one of Nancy's exquisite leafy, lacy, brioche patterns and be able to not have to rewrite it in any way at all, just change a few bits of where you stick the yarn and what you do with yarn overs. You can create one of Nancy's beautiful patterns and have it with that beautiful reversibility. I think that's really exciting. I'm really excited about this book. I really, 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 really hope that you are willing to be excited about it with me. At £25 per pledge, I need 480 people to pledge that amount of money. It's not very many. There are, gosh, how many brioches out there? How many people follow this podcast? 17,000 something. I need 480 people to be willing to part with £25 in order to make it work. One of the other, there'll be other prizes as well that other things that you can pledge for. So travel and airfare notwithstanding, of course, in the UK, I'll be offering for a certain pledge fee, a private one-to-one class on a subject of your choosing, knitting-wise, or performance, I don't mind, on a subject of your choosing, of anything that I teach that you feel you want to learn, for you and up to 4 friends, so 5 people. I will offer you a bespoke class. And obviously you get the chance, if you want to name the patterns. There's lots and lots of things going on. I am so excited about this. Do you want to come on this journey with me? Do you? I think there's probably plenty of you that do. Please say yes. Please, 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 please. By the time this podcast goes live, I will have done the research. I will have this page active and ready to go. So if you're excited at all about the things that I've been telling you here and sharing with you, then, and if you want to support me, and if you want to support the furtherance of knitting knowledge, because this is a whole new branch of knitting, I think I'm right in saying it doesn't exist yet. I mean, it does now, but it didn't before. I've done quite a lot of research, and there are lots and lots of different types of one-pass brioche, which are not exactly the same as this. This fabric is slightly different, and I know it well enough to be able to see what the differences are. So some people will say, well, no, I've done this, but I've been doing brioche in one pass for ages. That may be so. I sort of don't care if it's new to me or not. At the moment, it's not well documented, and it needs to be standardized because it has so many different practical applications. Can you tell? I'm really excited about it. So please, 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 please pledge. Let's make this happen. I plan I hope to release it March, April next year. That gives me maybe May, let's say May next year, because Christmas happens. And I'm going to leave the Kickstarter fund open, hopefully raising enough to get to the £12,000 mark until the end of November. That means I'm going to have to get started straight away. I'm going to have to start work on it, even if I don't have the pledges. I really, really, really hope that there's enough here that has enthused and inspired you and made you think, oh, I want to be able to knit that. I want to be able to name that. I want to be able to learn something brand new and really, really exciting. One of the things I love about the double knitted brioche texture is, whereas the standard brioche is kind of lacy and open and drapey all on its own, one of the things that would be great about double knitted brioche, ignore the blip, that's the name of the podcast, ignore the blip, is that I think it has different applications. One has a different application for the other. For example, lacy diaphanous shawls, great, go with the open texture. Garments made of something which is more closed and more structured and will hang together more uniformly. It's just about options. This is not in any way saying to people, oh, but I spent ages learning brioche, now he wants me to learn how to do it somehow slightly different to get a slightly different result. No, it's not about that. It's about giving you options that might work in certain circumstances. Might work in certain circumstances. That's my plan. So come with me on this special journey. Thank you so much for being part of my journey so far. I'm going to wrap this up at a little under an hour and a quarter, because I want to keep my podcast episode lengths down, because the editing, the uploading, the encoding, nightmare. And you know me, I've never been short of words. To everybody who has supported me so far and who has remained a loyal supporter, thank you so, so much. You will never know how grateful and appreciative I am. To anybody who's new to this podcast, I hope you are now seeing that there's a lighter side to me that's not all the doom and gloom of the last episode, and I know that reached a lot of people who were unaware of me or my plight beforehand. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I do. I make a positive difference by choosing to build people up, and I always will. Thank you so, so much for being part of my journey. Thank you so much for being part of my ongoing story. I hope that we will continue that for a very, very long time to come. And until the next time, while this podcast episode really is a finished object, remember, life is a work in progress. Just take it one stitch at a time.